Hey everyone, welcome back to Success Secrets Revealed. I am your host of this live stream show, Ronald Couming, and today we're blessed to have with us Richard E. Gordon. He's the CEO and founder and president of CEO Dojo, and we're going to talk about who he is and what he does in a minute. But I wanted to talk to you about the purpose of this show, Success Secrets Revealed. What happened was basically I have a radio show, 1.7 million reach every week, and I really love it. Been doing it for like 3.5 weeks. But because of COVID, they're not manning the station and they're just running reruns. But one of the best things I liked about the show was bringing on people, quality people who just have so much value to add to lives, and having them share their expertise and knowledge with people. So I didn't want to just sit back and let reruns go, although reruns are great, especially if you haven't heard them before. So I created this show. I brought people on. We're going to do the video live stream like this, share that all around. I'm going to strip out the audio and send that off. So now the radio show can have current issues. Okay, so that's the show. That's the whole purpose for the show. And what we want to do is it's thought and it's hoped that these business owners, entrepreneurs, mindset people, health coaches, whatever their perfection is, they're going to help you learn different things, different strategies that will hopefully help you, achieve even greater success with less trials and tribulations, right? Because they've been there and they've done that. And so by learning from them, you can either avoid the pitfalls or learn how to navigate out of them a little bit quicker. And each and every one of these persons, pretty much every one of them has some service too that you might be able to avail yourself of. So with that in mind, sponsor, I'm going to introduce Richard E. Gordon in a second, but our sponsor is my company, RCS Online Solution, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs, much like you, achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients. And let's be real, at the end of the day, you can have the best websites, the best product, the best services, the best funnels, videos, everything. If people are searching for your product, your services, and your solution, that's what you need to come up on the first page for, so they can consider you. If they know your name or your company's name and they search for that, that's great, but that's not what people are doing searches for, right? They already know you, so maybe they forgot your phone number, right? So they do that search for your name. But in reality, people are searching for a problem they have and they're looking for a solution. And that's where you need to come up for. That's what we help people do. So enough for that. Today on Success Secrets Revealed, we are blessed to have with us Richard E. Gordon, CEO, founder, and president of CEO Dojo. As a mindset business coach, his passion is to help corporate professionals and business owners establish clear goals and implement in a plan to reach their business and personal growth. He can see the true potential in individuals, but more importantly, he helps them realize their own potential. Richard has spoken to audiences from all around the world on a variety of topics to include confidence, self-control, discipline, focus. Throughout his speeches, he consistently encourages people to follow their own goals and to be you for you. Help me welcome Richard Gordon. Hey.
All
right. Welcome, Richard. Welcome. How's everything going? You're calling in from sunny California?
Correct. And the beautiful predictability, it's sunny here. Even though we're locked down, we still get the benefit of the sun and we still get to go to the beach. So life is pretty good for us here.
I was going to say, you say you're locked down, but yesterday you were hanging out with Greg Reed and, playing pickle and all these other things. So how locked down are you?
Correct. They eased it a little bit. We still got to keep our distance. So, a good friend of mine, Greg Reed, he stays on the other side of the net. I stay on my side. So it's all about health, so you follow the protocol, what people tell you. And again, it's the whole knowledge concept. Then you do what's right for you. So we both maintain our health. We follow what's best. We keep our distance.
Yeah. And that's excellent. You can have the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? Because part of the cure or part of not getting sick, or if you get sick, would be having a good, healthy immune system and just living a good lifestyle with, exercise and proper nutrition. But enough of COVID, right?
Absolutely.
that's taken enough of our lives already, right? Talk to us. Tell us. I mean, I've seen you on stages. I'm very happy to have you here. I mean, the way you deliver your content I've seen you on Habitude Warrior Conference, and I think a couple of other different stages as well. So please tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, how and why.
Sure. Like you said in the intro, I own and operate CEO Dojo. I am a career martial artist. I spent over 40 years training and teaching in the martial arts, and I've taught all over the world. I teach all different skill sets to people. And so that's segued into the mindset and helping people. And I always enjoy talking with you, Ron, because you're a man of knowledge. And so my whole pursuit of the martial arts and the business world and running the martial arts business was about knowledge. And we all know that knowledge is power. Everybody understands that knowledge is power. But I looked into it after teaching all of these years, martial artists. I taught in the public school system. I taught law enforcement. I taught security officers. I taught corporate classes. And I'm thinking, knowledge is power. So is it the person with the most knowledge? And I think we all agree that it's not necessarily the person with the most knowledge. So then what? So people get frustrated. They go to seminars, they go to classes and training, and then they don't really feel successful. So when is enough knowledge enough? And especially in any time, good times, bad times, too much knowledge can be, like almost a curse. So what I focus with people is basically with knowledge, you have to be flexible because knowledge is always changing. What worked for you in business last week, last month, and especially in the time we're in now, what worked in January is definitely not working now. And it could be a year, 2 years, 10 years ago. Things change. So you constantly have to keep up with your knowledge. But the one thing that doesn't change should be a constant. And that gets you through the highs, the lows, the middles, your goal. So that's what I try to work with people in the corporate world is focusing on the goal. Whether someone's fresh out of college, they're fresh out of high school, fresh out of the military, corporate world, what is your goal? Do you want to get ahead in the company? Do you want to get a new job? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? That's the main focus with people is focusing on their goal. And again, you talk about that as well, Ron. You say your show is designed to reveal the secrets for people to focus on their goals.
I love it. And some of the things, and I like how you talked about being flexible. You want to be, I believe, you want to be hard. You want to stay true to your goal, but you want to be flexible about how you get there because things constantly change. And
Exactly.
you gotta be able to ebb and flow because if you stay stuck to one thing and that for some reason doesn't work, but you're staying stuck in it, you're not being flexible, then, and also I like how you said, whatever got you here isn't going to get you there. Whatever got you to where you're at now is great. It did what it's supposed to, but if you're trying to level up and get somewhere else, you need to think and act differently and take an action. You can have all the knowledge in the world. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people at events and they'll buy all the books and they'll do all the things, but you keep seeing them at the same events and because they don't take action. You know what I mean? So that's so taking action. We call that like shelf help. So we speak on the stages, and so that's us going there is a little bit different than when you see a participant at all the same. And that's great because everybody does things at their own time and their own speed. But can you tell us a little bit more? Now, these are some of the things that you focus on, but what are your processes? What are your steps in getting people to realize this and then maybe taking action and moving forward?
Absolutely. And so it all comes down to processes and systems in life. And, whether you like math or you like science or not, you got to suck it up because it all comes down to the processes and the numbers. So yes, the first thing is to establish a goal. And what the key is, like you mentioned earlier, is I work with people on their goal. You work with people a lot of times and they say, oh, I'm going to nursing school, which is a great, very commendable field, always needed, definitely a service profession, very commendable and profitable. But you dig a little deeper and they're going to nursing school because their father went to nursing school as a nurse, their mother's a nurse, their aunts, their uncle, their whole family are nurses. But when you start digging, they don't have the goal of being a nurse or being in the medical profession. So they're kind of, again, going off the wrong path and they're setting a goal for the wrong reasons. And in time, that becomes unhealthy mentally, physically, emotionally. So that's where I tie in the be you for you. When I talk to people, let's find what you enjoy. Do you enjoy the medical profession, or maybe something fringe on the medical profession? Maybe you enjoy the administrative side of the hospital. Maybe you enjoy the insurance aspect of it. Maybe you enjoy the technical side of it, working in computers and IT, so you can still be in that profession. So the process starts with figuring out not only the goal, but what is your true goal. And I think in life, we've all gone down a path because someone guided us. We went to the same school as our parents. We went to the same church. We went to the same synagogue, because that's the path. And nothing wrong with that. But I want people to think, what is you? What is your goals?
Excellent. And once that's great, because, you got to be true to you. And one of the things that, we know when we're speaking on the stages is some of the people who have the most success are the people who are being the most authentic.
Yes.
They're real, raw, and relatable, because people can see them and feel them. You know what I mean? Not just hear them. They can feel them. They can relate. So, I love how you're talking about being in your authenticity. So when you help people, I assume that you're helping people, find out exactly what they're supposed to be doing, because what they're doing might not be. It might be what they think they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But what their true be you for you could be, or should be, or they should at least consider, might be something different. Do you have a step or a process that helps people work through that so they can learn just a little bit better?
Absolutely. And it comes back to a simple concept. It really comes back to, I sit down with them. The process is to dream a little bit. When we were younger, whatever age, the magic age, it stopped. 5, 6-year-olds, we wanted to be a fireman. Girls want to be ballet dancers, boys too, but people want to do something when they're young, and there's no boundaries. You get a hat, you get a costume, you get a belt, and now all of a sudden you're an army man, you're a policeman, you're a corporate executive, you're an attorney. And then all of a sudden that kind of goes away. So I get back with people and say, take a moment. This is even more important for people in 30s, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, because they stop dreaming. They do what they do. They pay the bills. They do what they have to do. So the process is to just take a minute and dream like you were 6 years old again. What hat do you want to put on? Some people, I had a friend that was a corporate guy. He worked for a major telecommunications company, 25 years, burnt out. He retires and literally quit, just like the next day retire. And then he goes and he becomes a cable installer from one of the local cable companies. I saw him. He said he was never happy. He goes to the house, installs the cable, goes on his way. He's home for dinner every night. No stress, no fuss, no muss. But he said he never explored the possibility that he would be happy doing something else. And he enjoyed working with his hands.
I love it. And I guess sometimes it's just finding your own truth, and it might not, be somebody else's truth, and it might not
Right.
make sense to somebody else, but it's really what's right for you. Right. And
Correct.
yeah. And I got to tell you, as an entrepreneur, I mean, there's some days I'm working 16 hours, and there's other days, and people are watching football games and they're having barbecues with family members, and I'm sitting there and I'm still working, getting caught up or putting together somebody's funnel or something. Right. And I look and I say, wow, if I could get a decent salary, right, I might, what I mean? Should I, or would I even consider working in like a company? So now I just do the 9-to-5 thing. Right. And do the W-2, I call it shuffle, to getting into, driving into Boston for an hour or whatever the case may be. So I've been tempted a few times, but I know that I know that's not me. You know what I mean? And I probably wouldn't last too long anyhow, because I'm a little too free when I speak my opinion, so I'm probably not a good employee nor good for corporate America. But you got to know your place, right?
Absolutely.
And that kind of, to me, sounds like what you do. You help people find their true core. And when they do, once they find that, I mean, you do have a step in place, a process. But once they find that, or they start to think about it, do you actually help them explore it and implement it, or do you just help them figure it out? I mean, is there like a step 2 or?
Dick, great question. And again, my philosophy, and I share a story. I just worked with a friend a couple of days ago, and she came to me with a situation. She was aggravated about the progression of things. And so I just gave her some perspectives. It was either you repair the business relationship, or you feel that this isn't a deal breaker, you walk away, or you confront them this way by being professional. And so it took her through 3 steps. And, so I'm all about the step. It's like communicate with somebody and then weigh what they tell you and make a decision. And so she started laughing in a second. She says, you realize that I came to you for you to give me the answers, and all you did was give me my options and like almost homework that I have to do. So yeah, I kind of slingshot it back to people, because that's the essence of being you for you. Because a lot of times people in general, especially entrepreneurs and successful people, you kind of get used to having people feed you answers, especially if you have a staff. You go to your staff, you say, hey, what's the best location to buy property? What's the best location to have an office? They give you the information. You're too busy. You trust it. It's been vetted. You move on with life. So I try to make sure that people understand that this is their options. They're going to make the final decisions, right or wrong. So I don't jump in and say you're right or wrong. It's up to them. And learning is part of the wrong as well. So you can't always give people the right answer, especially if you have kids, your spouse, your people in your life. You always want to give them the right answer. I didn't always listen to wise advice.
Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah. And sometimes people's right answer is inside of themselves, and the process is just helping them discover it. You know what I mean? Because, again, your right answer for someone might not be their right answer for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but helping them discover whatever their right answer is. And it will help you, I think, so much if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. I one of the biggest things I think it will help you is seeking counsel, finding somebody who can help you fine tune. I mean, whether you act on it, whether you accept it, whether you put up, barriers, but you already know if something doesn't feel right to you. And if something needs to be changed, even a tweak, or if you're just not happy inside, I mean, So seeking out somebody in whatever endeavor and looking for a mentor or a coach or somebody who is external, is not committed, is totally objective,
Absolutely.
What's the word? Objective.
Yeah.
They're not emotionally attached to the issue or the outcome. Sometimes they can just see things a little bit clearer without, a lot of the things we see comes from our experiences and our. So when somebody who doesn't have that, maybe, it can help us. So when somebody does finally figure that out, and then they go in that direction, it's their journey to determine where and when and how. But what's the next step? Would there be like a follow-up or coaching, or would it be like making sure they're staying true in some,
No, absolutely. And you somewhat read my script, because it's an effective plan, because I had on my list of progressions is experience, that you have to experience things. That's what I call the street knowledge. Also, the internal knowledge, which is your instincts, because there are certain things we just know. Everybody talks, they phrase it differently, but it's like some things you just know. It's in your gut. Your hair stand up. It doesn't feel right, like whatever. But we have that internal knowledge, like he stated, and then yes, the mentor and the guide. So you definitely have to have someone guide you. And the important thing I stress to people is that you have to keep your ego in check, because especially as people become more successful and they're financially successful and they have a lot of power and status, their ego gets in the way. They don't want to learn anymore. They call their cup is full. You want to go with an empty cup. And so you have to be open to learn from other mentors. So I take people to the points of my expertise, and then there might be a point where they're in a position where they need some other expertise. Like if they need some sort of computer generation, they need some SEO, I'll send them to you. Or if they're looking to write a book, I have my best friend and my mentor is Greg Reed. He is the expert in the field of getting people published. So I would hand them off to him, and then we would have a kind of collaborative effort to help this person reach their goal to be a published author, or to have their website, or to have an online web course. So there's always that collective effort. And if you have the good of your client and your customer, you won't try to keep them down by saying you need to stay within my experience. And same thing in sports. You look at any top athlete, they have a minimum of 10 coaches. They got a strength coach, they got a conditioning coach, they got a diet coach, if they're a quarterback, they got a throwing coach, they got a running coach. Baseball, they got hitting coaches and all that stuff. So the key is the follow up to the essence of accountability for someone. And you have to look at, again, what their measure of success is. What do they want? Not everybody wants the big house on the hill. Not everybody wants the fancy cars. So you take them to the point where they're going to realize their success.
I love it.
That's where you take them.
I love it. And that goes back to like serving and not selling. So you bring people to the point, but if they need something that you don't provide, or that somebody else can provide that's
Right.
better, then you will guide them and bring them in. But the best part about that is, in addition to your honesty and authenticity, is that person is getting their needs met. And
Absolutely.
yeah, but because you've already vetted whoever you're introducing them to.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's like, yeah, I always tell my clients that too. I mean, stay in your genius zone, and then, bring in other people. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Absolutely.
And but I like how you're talking about serving, not selling, because it's about them getting what their needs are, getting their needs met. And at the end of the day, if you help enough people, you know what I mean, you're gonna be rewarded richly, right? I think that was Napoleon Hill.
And that's what it comes down to. And it's like, again, as a coach or mentor or trainer, and I spend my whole life teaching and training people, is we have to keep ourselves in check, because especially as look at the martial arts world, security world, I've been doing it for 50 years. So sort of like me going to Keith Richards and learn guitar. He's been doing it for 50 years. So he has to equate it, and he's not a teacher, of course, but if he was a teacher, he'd have to equate how someone who's never picked up a guitar can learn to play a guitar from someone who's been doing it for 50 years. So there's a big responsibility to kind of reinvent yourself. And so to me, I have to go back to principles that I learned, maybe 30 years ago. But that's putting my ego aside and looking at the needs of a person. Because as you know, some people are like, they're all flash. It's like, look at me, I can do this, I can do this. And then the person's like, huh? They become confused. So the knowledge and what you're teaching has to be geared for the person's level. And then the same thing with you. You have people who are new to it. You need to give them the basic package. If they want more advanced, they're at a level where they have the website, they have some things going, then you come in at this level. But yeah, you can confuse someone with, especially in your world, you can confuse people in a minute with dialogue. I've been to seminars where like, oh yeah, the ICP, the 305 goes to the SCO3 and divided by 2, and you're like, what?
And it's funny you say that, because you really do, but I'm sure most industries are like that too once you start talking the technical jargon. So one of the things that all my speaking coaches, and I've had several, including, I've gone to guys who were, professional, people who teach people how to speak and all that, but I've also gone to people who are in my own industry and give tremendous, you would think that there would be some type of, conflict there, because we're both, pretty much serving the same people, maybe in a slightly different way. But, I went to him, I paid him almost 10 grand just to spend an entire day with me and go step by step by step. And one of the biggest things that they will tell you is take your jargon out. Speak about the benefits, and then, say things like what this means for you. And you talk about the benefits, because you're right. If I start talking about 3-1, it goes right over their head. They're out of it, right? And it's just a different area. It's just a different, if they talk to me about their expertise, it would go right over my head, right? So you got to be able to relate to people where they are at the time you're talking to them. That will help you be much more effective in whatever you're doing. And I love how you say that. You have to go back in time and where is this person at now? How can I help them now? What do I have to say to them to get them to hear me now, to feel me, hear me, take action, and then we can a little bit more here, then a little bit more here. So that's excellent. Is there more you'd like to tell us about your product result?
Just to kind of bring that into a full, it summarizes what I'm saying, is that there's such an abundance of knowledge out there. At this day and age, we have so much knowledge. You can go online, you can get a Harvard degree, you can learn how to train for the Olympics. So there's so much knowledge out there, but what I work with people on, especially it's myself. So everything I teach, I apply to my own life, because you have to look in the mirror. So especially when I teach people something, I have to go back and say, hey, am I doing that? Am I implementing what I'm telling them? And I always make sure I do that for accountability to myself. But you have to focus on the knowledge that's going to help you reach your goal. If you want to learn to fly a plane, it might be fun on Jeopardy to learn all of the World War II models that they fought in combat. but that's not going to get you any closer to getting certified in 2020 to fly a plane. So I see that a lot of people go all over the place with accumulating and amassing knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a lover of knowledge, and I know you are as well, Ron. But you have to look at, specifically if you're trying to reach a goal, what knowledge is going to help you reach your goal. And it's always funny when you break it down, there's really not a whole lot of knowledge that people need to start taking action and reach their goal. And so you have to customize it to you, because the knowledge out there is generic. Be this, be that, be successful, sell real estate. But then you have to figure out, how does it apply to you? Are you going to sell single family homes? Are you going to sell subdivisions? Are you going to sell commercial real estate? Are you going to flip houses? Are you going to hold them? Are you going to, all of these things, you have to take it to a more narrow, focused goal of knowledge. So again, the knowledge for you that will help you reach your goal. So you got to customize it.
Excellent, excellent. And we have down here how people can reach you here at Facebook. Is probably looks like an Instagram.
Correct.
Wow. Richard.E.Gordon.3. Were there two other Richard E. Gordons?
You know it. At least we're not up to 7. Like in the old days on AOL, you're like 7,082.
AOL. For our younger listeners, it all started. I think AOL was one of the originals, wasn't it? You've got mail, right? And
exactly.
Yeah, I think that was a movie too, right? You Got Mail. Yeah.
Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, I believe. Yeah, in Seattle.
Wow. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So, I mean, I think what you do, how you help people, get to the core of who they are and what really will help them the most is fundamental to not only people's success, but probably more important to their happiness inside.
Correct.
So, if somebody wanted to just engage with you, what would that look like? Would they, do you meet with them in person? Can you do stuff over the phone like this here if they're in a different state?
Yeah. So what I do is I try to meet in person. Everybody, like, again, it comes back to that template. Like, people tell you, oh, don't meet in person. Oh, don't. I'm a meet in person guy. So if anybody's within local distance, driving distance, I'd like to get together at least the first 2 sessions. I think is a good connect ability. And then the practicality, people all over the country and the world, Zoom sessions. So Zoom has always been there for us, and this is nothing new to the people in the coaching industry. So yeah, face-to-face on Zoom. I'll work with you. I like to do it in a block of 3 months. I have shorter versions, but 3 months, 90 days is the time it takes for people to really make changes in their lives. And so you contact me, we'll set up an initial session. Again, it's not a hard sell, it's just me and you speaking. And if you think I can help you reach your goals, and like Ron said, to be happy. Business success, people could kind of find their way. More importantly, I'm looking at the full package. Once you're in the trenches and once you're trying to make money, there's other things you want to put in place, because when you become really successful, it becomes really hard to deviate because you're too busy. So I try to catch the people on the way up, and then when they're at the top, I try to help them round out their lives. I had a quick story. I had a client I was working with. He said that he spent 80% of his time working on his business and 20% on his family and his 3 kids. So I let that sink in with him for a second. I looked at him and I said, well, what would happen if you spent 20% on your business? He didn't need to answer the question, because we all know the answer to that question. It would fail miserably.
Yeah.
So I said to him, I said, so how do you think this ratio is impacting your family? And he kind of refused to answer, because I could see in his gut, he knew the answer to that question. And so I said, I understand you just can't flip a switch, but you have to have an exit strategy, build your business 1 year, 2 years, whatever it takes, 5 years, you decide as a family to commit that time, and then you pull out. So that's the key of the real picture of you supplementing all of the parts of your life as you go. And so 3 months I'll work with you, and we'll definitely get you to that point where you make the decision. So he wanted to stick with 80-20. That's his decision.
Yeah, but I like the way that you tied that in, because he understood that in his mind, his business's success required 80% of his time. So when you said to him, he could relate to that. Okay, my business requires 80% of my time. My relationships, my family get 20% of my time. So when you said that to him, that to me probably for the first time, he actually probably realized, just how much, he was losing and how this family and stuff really wasn't working. And, part of the reason was, the time that he allotted. So to me, it was huge. And it was just so, sometimes you just need somebody to just say something that sinks in. You can hear something similar 3, 4, 5 times, but
Correct.
yeah, sometimes. So I think that's excellent. So is there anything else in closing that you'd like the listeners and viewers to see and watch? I got your website going down here now.
Yeah, so reach out to me on all that stuff. I love to interact with new people. Like I said, I'm a lover of knowledge, so I love to meet and interact with people and get their knowledge. And even when I help people, I learn. So when you're a true mentor, a true coach, and true teacher, you're learning as well. When I work with 20-year-olds, they're in a whole different generation facing different challenges. So I love to learn from them. So, of course, I'm teaching them based on my experience, but they're teaching me based on what it's like to be a 24-year-old college grad. I graduated college 26 years ago. So they are teaching me about a world that, like Rod and I, we know nothing about stepping out on college, especially now in May. People are graduating now. They're stepping out into this world as a new college grad with a whole lot of different experiences and insights that, Ron and I have. Really, it's like we don't know what we don't know.
Yep. And I can only imagine right now they're coming out with significant debt out into a world where, we just have it's 33.5% unemployment right now.
The game changed on them. No fault of their own.
Yeah.
The game changed.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's changed for us.
Absolutely. Across the board.
Yeah, so I can only imagine somebody who hasn't even, got a track record yet. They got a piece of paper, but no experience. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so it's definitely, everybody has their own situation, uniqueness that they bring to the table. So, but I think this has been great. You've kind of walked us through the process of what people, the importance of understanding, being you for you,
Right.
getting to your core, learn what is your fundamental authenticity, and then, playing to that and making that part of your life. So, Richard, I wanted to say thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure. It's always great talking to you, and I always enjoy getting little bits of your knowledge.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, everybody. That was Richard E. Gordon. He's a rock star. I've seen him. I've known him for 4 or 5 years now. I've seen him speak on the stages. I've seen him do demonstrations. I know some of the people that he associates with and works with, and he's the real deal. So you want to reach out to him, because at the end of the day, if you're not truly happy here, it's going to affect every aspect of your life, both business and personal, right? And in your health, right? If you're not happy health-wise, it causes all sorts of dysfunction. So you've been listening to Richard E. Gordon on the Success Secrets Revealed with Ronald Couming as your host. We are sponsored by RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success using various internet marketing techniques and methods. And let's just be real here. At the end of the day, awareness equals opportunity. If they can't find you, not for your name, not for your company's name, because no one's searching for that, right? So if you come up on the first page for those things, so what? You need to come up on the first page for the products, services, and solutions you provide, because that's what people are looking for. That's what we do for you. And most of the time, we don't even charge our clients until after they get the results that we guarantee them. So again, I hope you have a great day. Reach out to Richard E. Gordon. He's a rock star.